Happy Sunday, everybody. What is that?
Funny.
thought we were playing rock, paper, scissors for a minute. Although we don't need to compete with that, do we? Hi, Cindy. Hi, Steve. How are you? Good to see you guys. Appreciate you popping in. We're over on Salt Spring Island, and Salt Spring Island is known for the market, the fertile land, the pop-up shops that are on the side of the road, these little stands that people have their wares out and you leave money. So it's this beautiful exchange and trust. So we're at Ruckles Farm. We're in a house that was a kit house from 1905. And as you can see behind us, the wood is original. Hi, Wendy. How are you? So this home what took 2 years to build it. And there's some outstanding trees on the property and amazing energy.
Oh yeah, this place, man. I was so enamored with it when we first arrived. Just to see the design of it from outside, I knew that it was an older home. It looked it's almost an immaculate condition. But as soon as I walked in, I was already giddy as a kid in a candy store, because I knew, given what I was seeing outside, I was in anticipation of what the inner workings of what the beauty of the outside was representing. And once I walked in, it was like I just melted and was so enthralled with the ingenuity and how they've done a wonderful job of just really, really taking an enormous amount of care of this home. And, that just reflects who they are. And in that reflection, that tells us that that's who we are as well, to understand that when you have something with this much age and this much wisdom, that just this area along with this place called a home rest, can you imagine the amount of just knowledge and wisdom that this area and frequency and vibration holds for it? And I can guarantee you and definitely express is an enormous amount, given the travel I had yesterday. So it's wonderful. It's beautiful. I'm blessed and so grateful to be here, and so appreciative of just the many experiences we continue to have.
Yeah, absolutely. From the way nature responds here, to the bees buzzing, to they have goats, they have turkey. We were greeted by turkeys when we came in. And this one, the what do you call him when he's like the lead turkey? What do you call that? He's the leader of the boss. He's the leader of the turkeys. He was literally like puffing it up and showing off. And so it's when you're in that observation mode and you're going somewhere new and you're just curious, it's really cool what shows up. So absolutely, we'll share some more with this. My daughter took a bunch of photos, so I've got those now. King Gobble Gobble. He's the Tom. Yeah, too funny. Yeah, and so as we're here, it's just that slow down, just be. Lots of naps. Lots of hanging out in nature, especially under that tree that is just so beautiful. There's a tree as old as the house here, and the windows are original. And so a lot of the glass is older, and you can really see that our new glass, it's almost like, well, which one's better, right? And in some ways, when you get a new perspective out of this older glass, I quite like it. It's unique and it's different. Yeah. So do you want to talk about your travel that you kind of left them hanging there with for a minute?
Well, it was like what the parts that I remember that I'm willing to share anyways, because some of it's a bit personal, but it was one of those that these energies came to me, and it was like I was having probably this experience of just being in this place within myself that was bringing forth things that I still must see and reflect upon and work through. And they came to me, and it was like they did this like ceremony with me, on me, through me, kind of thing. And as I was going through this ceremony, I was looking up at the sky, and I could see cars in the sky, but I was also seeing the stars as sprites. And the one thing that did come to me today, it was like the way that they presented themselves was so crystal clear to me that if they were to be an energy or be a being, such as a human being or whatever it may be, because that's how they showed me in this travel, I would know them or recognize one of them immediately because there was four of them, and that was the beauty of it. And each of them had this unique personalities or energy about them that, you know, it was one of those that was like, it was warming and, you know, inviting and so guiding to the, you know, down to the next three. I mean, it was such a spectrum with them that, you know, it was all the way down to the ones that you were going, what? Because it was just that expressive. And so a lot of it was that they were just, you know, expressing to me that, you know, when we are in the position and place of always wanting to get to the next level of what we're experiencing, whatever it is we're focused on, we must give it time. And what that means is not, we're not talking about time in linear. We're talking about when they express that to me, you need to give it time. It means I must put time into what that is that I'm focusing upon. Give it that time. So basically, you're taking your currency and putting time into something that you're so focused on that you want to understand so fully and completely that it levels you to it. It takes you to that next level of the understanding we all seek to know and understand and embody and become.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you guys for coming in. Thank you, Al. Good to see you. Brian, good to see you. Carmel, good to see you. So Brian said he's tuning in from under a pyramid in Antarctica.
Yes,
Perfect. Pyramids just
Stay warm.
everywhere,
Yeah.
right? And so as we begin this conversation around, and that floats right into it, so to speak,
Yes.
or is a beautiful opening for it around the levels. And where do the levels start? To us, the levels start here within. And when you shift your vibration, and how do you do that? Let's run through it again. You take control of your health. You adjust what water you drink. You eat more high vibrational food. You get more deep rest. You spend more time in nature. You may take some, depending on what you're called to take, something to help detox the body or add, such as minerals. So there's lots of trace minerals that we've all been missing. Maybe if you don't get a lot of sun through the winter, it might be vitamin D, so you can douse what you need to take, whatever comes up in your field. It involves taking away things like fluoride. And I just found out about even the nylon on the toothbrushes are actually really bad for you. Surprise, surprise. So actually, you know, so what was going on when they didn't brush their teeth? That's a whole nother show. So we're going to find out about that because there's so much to each level of that in itself. But the more you work on self, the more you start to connect to the body, the more you can become the observer of not only what's within you, but also what you're seeing outside of you. And when you observe, instead of reacting and you wait and you respond, you're adjusting the frequency going out, which means nature, the universal law is it must change to come back. So it must reflect. Everything is a mirror. So when you complain about something outside of you and you don't like it and it's wrong, well, what are you saying about self? Because it's a mirror for you to look at. There's many of us have these triggers that we work through. And once you are aware of that trigger and you worked on it, now you see it coming. Oh, I see that coming again. I'm not going to react. And so then you shift. And then this is part of this spiral up the levels of consciousness, which in turn shift the level of the external, because really it's a projecting out from within. And so we really, really believe that it all starts with you. There's no thing that can do something for you to shift you. Remember?
No, and you know, it's as we're talking about the planes, and this also when you come to understand what the planes are, because you know they speak of seven, But as you know, I continue to do my research. They go all the way up to 33. I mean, and you know,
ironic.
Yeah.
Ironically.
So it just all depends on where it is that you gain your knowledge and what it is that you're researching taps into and awakens something within you, an understanding, a remembrance of who you are. So right now we'll just stick with the 7 planes. And when you understand that the 7 planes that we come through, it is one of those that we must understand that the soul is working through these 7 planes to be in, you know, with this body. So right now what we're doing is we're embodying more of the light of that soul we are. So that way we are having better and more joyous experiences, because what we're doing is we are moving out of the more lower level chakras of us as humans, where when you understand as above, so below, as within, so without, back and forth, all this is that when we get to a space and place within ourselves where we stop so much of the worrying about what the body is wanting, okay, that's when we begin to step back and begin to understand that that's where the true change begins, is to understand that you get to, at least for me, when I come to understand why I've changed so much of who I am, is I got to where I began over time, more and more and more, having less concern about the body and its desires over wanting to know truth, connection, understanding, and leveling up in that, becoming more of that soul that I am being projected through these planes of existence, because I'm a light. In each plane that I go through, the light of myself becomes dense because I am here in form in this vessel. So when you come to understand just the beauty and the intricacies of what seems to be complex, but yet once you can grasp or understand what seems to be that complexity, becomes simplistic. And when you come to that place of simplisticness, then it seems as though you become that light body, that lighter body of self, because then you're just here experiencing and you're enjoying that experience, because in this realm, there is what T was speaking to. Our pillars, those are our reflections. And no matter how it is that you utilize them, whether it be you see it as the masculine, the feminine, the good or evil, the up, the down, the as within, so below, so forth and so on, it's reflective. That's what we come here to do, was to experience ourselves individually in a dualistic realm, so to speak, to understand more of who we are, to have those experiences, because this is what we chose to come here to do. And the only thing was what we are coming to understand is that we just happen to choose to come in at a time that, the heliocentric system was in place. And what's the beauty of that is as we continue to understand more and more about this system that is here in this material world, we begin to up level over or through that in our understanding. So that way, over time, we create the world where the heliocentric model is old. So you see, as we're going through this.
Oh, can you explain the heliocentric model, please, for those that might not know?
The heliocentric model is what we've been experiencing with, the religions and the governments and things like that have been in place, because it's what is the manipulation of Saturnalian is what everybody's equating this to. But all Saturn is Saturn is what they express in the esoteric. Saturn is the one we go through all the planets because they're all transport systems, so to speak. These are your train stations that you stop at for each level that you come down as you are in that fallen angel part of this. down to where we inhabit a vessel. So you see, in Saturn is considered the and it's just now leaving my mind because now I'm there. But Saturn is the first planet, but it's also the last planet because it's the one the furthest away from the Earth, which is the center of like who we are. Because when you understand the planes, then you can understand the center of that plane is where the existence of the material in the astral meet. And then there's the lower, mid, and higher levels of the levels, basically, of the astral, before we get up to the higher level of the mind, and then to God speed, so to speak. So when we understand that, when we are working within us to understand ourselves more and more, what we got to understand is we're moving up and down in these levels to understand that what we're doing is we are dimming our light, but we're also shining and making brighter our light as we continue to traverse who we are within ourselves to understand more about where we are, what we're experiencing, what we truly want to create.
Perfect. And so that's a description, a Norma scientist description of how when we start to work on self and our observations change, we become more and more and more of that light body moving up in the levels.
Yes.
Tech aside, or technicalities aside, it is actually really simple. Your mission is to learn about yourself. What makes you tick? What makes you happy? Have that childlike wonder as you're observing. Thank you, Callie Kid, for saying that.
Yes.
Observe,
Perfect.
don't absorb. It is exactly, it's so, oh, that looks like fun. That looks like it's important. Getting to know self more. And what brings you so much joy? Is it doing art? Is it cooking? Is it nature? Right? Nature always nurtures. There's no ifs, ons, there's no other option. Nature rocks over everything else. Why? Because we're made up of nature. So when we're in commune with nature, whether we're out hiking in nature or we're eating berries, or I eat those little new green sprigs off the trees and they're really fresh, they're quite tasty. It really helps to merge myself with the space I'm in. And so I tend to do that a lot. Or I'm looking for here, as soon as I came out from under the tree, I'm like, oh, yarrow in my mouth. I don't even hesitate. It goes in my, I don't know if a dog peed on it. I have no idea. It goes in my mouth. She's always laughing. Sometimes things come back out of my mouth as fast as they go in because I'm like, oh, that didn't taste good. So absolutely. And Al, you're right. I myself am a flat earth guy. Sure. Would totally respect everyone's view.
Yeah.
I think it's more like a Taurus.
Yeah.
Because Earth is alive. So imagine, and we have a Taurus field. So it's no different than us. So flat plane that we live on, yeah. But the whole being of Earth is more of a Taurus field. And there's actually inner Earth, and then we're in the middle. You go watch that show again and you tell me what you think they all meant.
Right. And it's okay because at this point,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because it's neither right or wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the beauty of this.
And
this is where you become
both.
Free, because it can be whatever it is, you yourself, I believe at this time, that gets you more of in tune with who you are.
Yeah.
Okay. So at this point, it's like, we've said before, there's a million ways to heaven. And that's literally in a certain level of truth to that. It doesn't matter to a level and degree what you use. It's a tool. It's just, do you know it's how to use it properly? And when you talk about the Earth and you look at Earth and you understand the North Pole and you understand that our center is the heart and Earth itself is the center, and it is itself a heart, a beat, a womb, It's all those things. So when you look at those levels, those planes of levels that exist, Earth is considered the center, just as we know that our heart is our center, because when you look at the torus field, it doesn't go all the way down to our feet. It stops at the anus, and it begins here because it's doing this.
It's increased.
And well, I mean, it expands, it becomes more.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is the feet, because it's upon the earth, is our way of grounding. But the heel, which is considered hell, is because of that grounding that keeps us here in order to experience this world of material and dual, to understand more about who we are and to express that and enjoy every moment of it.
Is that from the book you've been reading?
Yes.
Okay. So does it talk about the Earth Star chakra?
I don't know. I haven't got
that far? Okay. So a lot of people believe we have 7 chakras. There's the root, all the way to the crown. And then above your crown is your star chakra. And then you have a soul, like it actually keeps going up the levels. We have a new one here, higher heart chakra, which is turquoise. These came in 2012. Belly button, which I call the drone chakra. Send that puppy out wherever you want to view. And then earth star chakra, which is in the earth and it's black. And so we have, I would believe with that, and the only reason I'm bringing this up, and I don't know for fact, so we're just having a conversation here in front of you. See how nice we are to each other? that we actually have increased our torus field because of that. And in that, we're setting up for the Merkaba.
Yeah, it's the same concept, because
exactly
the 7 chakras, the 7 planets, the 7 layers, the 7 levels, the 7 planes, or you can look at it as portals or gateways, whatever it may be. It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just all into what taps into you and helps you with your understanding, that brings forth more of that light and that soul, and you embody more of that you ascend, because what you're ascending is your level of consciousness. Okay. And what it means by when people talk about, and we get to take this body with us to a level and degree, but what most people, I feel, where there may be a misconception in that, is that what we must understand is we get to choose that when we do, either it's astral project or we have those interactions in what we call dreams. That's what they mean by that. That's my interpretation or my understanding. That when I go and I have these travels, sometimes I'm seeing myself as if I'm third person, and then there are times I'm seeing myself in this being in those travels. So it just depends on my perspective of where I'm at and what's going on within me and what level I'm in as I'm having those interactions outside of this vessel.
Cat realm.
There's that. There's that. And so that's where the beauty of this, lies, is that when we become that observer and we don't look at things as good or bad, we look at things as, this is where I'm gaining knowledge of what's defined as good and bad. But when I look at it as I'm either living or I'm not living. So that's where lived and devil comes into play, because all devil is live spelled backwards. It's mirrored. It's a mirror. Everything's a mirror, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So it's like when you understand it, and then this is going to get even much more deeper and so much more as we continue on, because of what we are in the process of creating. So this will come out more and more.
Yeah. All I can say, if you're feeling stuck, stagnant, frustrated, angry, despair, get out in nature. Get out in nature, lie down on the earth, hug a tree, and just be. And then ask, what do I need to do? I'm tired of this. I'm done with this. What can I do? You will be shown or given an answer. If we don't ask, we can't help. And because only part of our soul can fit within this vessel, in this time and space, in this density, we have an opportunity to work with our higher selves. And I just want to bring Brian's question up again. Would it be safe to say that all people that disappear fall off the edge of flat Earth? I think they're in another realm, right? Because if you look at the levels, those that are not, no such thing as past, but those souls, those human luminous that are still with us, that have been, we're told, are dead, but are still here, are just residing in another space. Yeah.
And,
Go
There's
ahead.
another thing to speak to on this when we talk about, even though it's kind of funny there, um, when we understand that even in that even when we're in those other realms or those other levels or planes, whatever it is that you believe it may be for yourself, you got to understand as you're traversing and traveling those, what's happening, you're coming back to this vessel. Now, given what you've been doing that night and what I've been experiencing is when I come back to this vessel in this realm, what I get to do is I get to take this body with me because of what I bring back. So for me to take this body with me means, oh, this is the direction I'm going in to have this experience, because what I'm getting from my travels is this is what's about to take place. So this is almost kind of like you're being given a little bit of future information. It just depends on where you're going to put your focus on what's been brought back for this body to take in as the embodiment of what you want that experience to be. So it's like every time I come back, man, because like yesterday with this travel, it was like, wow, this is just so clear, so just clarity, because this place has such a beautiful essence about it, which means that the vibration and the
Pure
frequency
energy.
is
There's
purer
yeah.
than it is in what you would say closer to your areas of city or suburbia.
The walls are wood. Everything's wood.
So
Not
it's natural grounding.
right. We are so grounded while being in this house. Yeah, it's so peaceful, and there's a piano and etc. Like there's so many things. Yeah. And flying in your sleep, Wendy, beautiful. Absolutely.
Have fun.
I remember flying as a kid in my dreams. Absolutely.
Oh, I never stopped.
Yes, I do. I don't. Most of the time, I don't remember. She remembers a lot. Occasionally, I'll come in with a crazy memory, and I'm like, oh no, this one I don't know. Lots of collapsing timelines while that was going on. Right now, there's a lot of heart expansion happening, and instead of we were talking about the pillars, we should add that in here because I think it's important. And then we don't let me forget about the fractals. If Cindy's watching, can you comment, please? And so there's pillars, and we're meant to stand our pillars up so we can be strong, pillars of light. As the beings we are, we've been spread around the world to be pillars of light. And now at this point, those get to expand. They're expanding more because of current energies, the vibrations. There's more of us. We're resonating more. It goes into Earth. Earth sends it back up. There's so many things occurring in this way that they're getting stronger. So as they get stronger, the frequency increases. Next step is everyone to open their heart more, regardless of where you're at, regardless if you even realize what is going on energetically and that we have this expansion happening on the planet. So people are going to be pushed. So you see, remember, everybody was like quite angry, frustrated, snappy. That's going to start to recede, and love and compassion are going to open up more. Correct me if I'm wrong as the future moves on, but that's what I've been getting. And so as we operate more from the heart and we're kind to all souls because we know not what they've been through. So we can't judge them, because in judging them, we judge ourselves, and judging them, we cause division. Where does the division happen? In us. And so it's this constant rebalancing, recalibration of self. Oh, interesting. I thought that. No, thank you. Flick. Right? I always operate with love and compassion, for I know not the other person's full story. I don't know their beliefs. I don't know. You can ask. Best way to get curious. So if somebody triggers you on something, get curious about why that triggered, right? Get curious about it.
Have fun with it.
Yeah, it's a gift.
Yeah.
And then if you find things are repeating, as part of the spiral up, but now you should have a new perspective, and you should be able to, you will be able to respond differently. You're mastering responding differently. Any questions? You guys want to pop in the questions?
Was you talking about the fractal?
We're going to talk about the
Oh,
fractal
okay.
next. That's the next question. But I wanted to say, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat so we can make sure we get to them. We'll be signing off a little early today. I still have some family here, and I want to hang out with them for their last hour. So, fractal. What is a fractal? A fractal is a piece of something.
Oh, if it is, if you can even really conceptualize it as that, you know, and with fractal, you know, with fractals, a fractal is is something that is all the way down to a speck you think is the last part, and it never is. It's a continuum. It's continuous. It's always it's that micro to the macro and the macro to the micro. It's a concept where you understand nothing ever stops moving. It never stops. It's always in expression. It's always in motion. So when we look at fractals and we understand fractals in that way, then for me, it's like, okay, if something's always in motion and always moving, you can't put a time or a number to that. In my perspective, that may change over time as I continue to gain knowledge and gain information about, what's being put forth here. But from my concept of what I understand a fractal to be is immeasurable because it never stops. So how can it be measured? It's just expressing, and it's going, and it's continuing.
So where this came from, and sorry, Cindy Tootin, this is from a different Cindy, and I apologize, was Greg Braden did a show on fractals and using mathematical equations to measure fractals and explaining that in such a way as along with the realms. And we were like, I don't fully agree. And that's really weird for me because I think Greg Braden's amazing and really, really smart. I love him. Maybe his perspective is so different from our perspective that we're looking at the same thing, but we're looking at it from like completely different angles. Yeah. Who knows? So we just wanted to share that out. And absolutely, thank you for all the questions here. So Wendy's asking, what are your thoughts with crystals? Crystals are important. Crystals grow. So it has a soul. We have crystals in our brain.
Pineal gland.
Your pineal gland is crystals.
Reflects light.
Yeah, absolutely. And so by utilizing crystals and depending on how they're grown, where they're grown, so many crystals have a purpose. And so therefore those crystals can support us. So black stones tend to be good for grounding and protection. Clear quartz crystals are good for opening up and getting messages and communicating that way. Sometimes I give little quartz crystals to clients and I'm like, this is your baby, chuck it in the bucket. And every time I want you to put that energy in there. And then once a month, you're going to plug it in the earth and clean it, or once every 2 weeks, depends on how much you use it. But so there's lots of different ways of using crystals to magnify things, to heal. Amethyst is in my water at home. Amethyst helps get water into the cells easier. So I don't have sloshing in my stomach. So I can drink as much water as I want. It's all going through and getting to my cells. So does that answer your question? Did you have a more specific question about crystals? And Rebecca asked, any comments on surge of grief? In order to bring in something new, one has to let something go.
Yeah. And here's the great thing about the energies that are taking place right now. And this is just a quick run up on it because there's so much more, of course, more to this. But anyways, as we're going through these energies, it's almost like when you understand what the sun in the energies are accomplishing here, it's about moving this energy, period. That's what it's about. It's moving this energy. And, given that I know a little bit about you, Rebecca, and you being so open in your meditation and you're so inviting as to what the experience may be just to move through and to level up to that next astral plane or whatever it may be that you believe in. What's happening is because you're so open to that surge is that grief that you speak of so that you may release. And this is what I'm getting, just as a direct clarifying statement, or
she's channeling for you
that this is just you. So it's coming up so you can feel it, heal it, release it.
So it's speeding things up for you. So rather than a slow, right. Oh, we'll be really nice and we'll take it out this way. Oh no, she can handle this. Let's just yank it right out.
Right. And you're asking for that, whether you're aware of it or not.
Yeah.
Just by being who you are. So keep going. You're doing great.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Cindy's asking, will a heart Catheter.
Catheter.
I was wondering,
okay.
affect my heart expanding in any way? Nope, not at all.
No. It's energetic, love.
Not physical, it's energetic. So if anything, your heart operating better will actually help.
Yes.
So in my opinion,
yes. I mean, and I know what you speak to is our heart catheter, and all it is something that's expanding that vessel or that vein or whatever it may be that they're working on in there. So that way you have that flow again without any blockage. So, and because the catheter so malleable and so small, you got this, you're good. Keep going.
Yeah.
It's all about how you feel. And if that right there helps you feel better in the body, and it's something you can just say, it's a part of me now. It's something that's assisting this body and this vessel so that I may continue to have these experiences I've come here to have, just because, whatever it may be, it doesn't matter what's led to this, but something's going to keep me going and give me a chance and opportunity to enjoy this and to know that when I get ready to go to that next expressive place or space that I plan on going to, I know I'm going to leave here knowing that I've done what I needed to move out, and know I don't have to come back here unless I so choose.
Yeah, beautiful. And to add to that, Cindy, we know you well enough now that I can share this online, and I know you won't be upset, but you are an amazing healer. And right now you're learning to heal thyself. You're an amazing mother. And even though you're in the thick of things right now, it's really beautiful on the other side. So remember to stay present, to remember the heart is a vortex energetically, and that whatever those white coats tell you, backpedal it and make the statements, I am healthy. My heart is healthy. Yeah. And command what you would like. Yeah. Is to do dialysis. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. No problem, Steve. You can get that over to your sister, Cindy. I'm just cluing in that it's like this full circle weave going on right now.
It's a lot going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Rebecca, not long ago, I accessed my Akashic. When I was a siren, I released all the soul fractals of people I had killed. They're rising up the bush. Great.
Beautiful.
Maybe you felt their grief. Who knows?
No, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I'm hearing what you're saying. No, that's great, because it's like, there was someone else that was speaking to, what they were going through and what they were releasing. And it was something of the heart. And I told, and my expression to them was, just because you're releasing grief from the heart doesn't mean that it's grief because of the individual. It's because it's the energy that you held on to in the heart for so long, that the heart is expressing that pain because that's what it does. And that doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that you're moving an energy and you're allowing it to be, and you're allowing yourself to feel that, because that's what we do. We feel, and that's what this vessel allows us to do. So we may know the difference, so that we may become more in tune with the body and the vessel in which we are having this experience through. It is all a gift. All of it.
Absolutely. And so on Wednesday, I'll be running solo, and Cindy's just thanking me. Cindy, we'll do a meditation around that, and we'll do a meditation around activating the body to respond better to the new frequencies, especially the heart opening. And then we also have a 6/6 portal coming up, because 2 and 4 is 6, right? If one goes 06, 06, 2, 4 and the slashes, that's a portal. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about that. And yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always fun being on here with you guys. We're going to cut it a little bit short. I'm glad you love your sister, so that we can have a little more visit with family. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. Just know we're in the background. We're doing so much, y'all. So much, and we can't wait to bring it out to you and bring it forth.
Yeah. And Steve, make sure you show Cindy this too, because it's talking about more of the fractals. So this isn't for us to pass through in the mind to understand what everyone says and how they say it. What's more important is what can we do now, and what can we embody at this point? So
have fun.
Right? Woohoo! Woo-wee! What a ride, right?
Right.
All right. We love you guys. Have a beautiful evening, day, wherever you are.